The Nintendo Switch 2 is about to go absolutely crazy. Just everyone in the industry can't really stop talking about it. Phil Spencer going on multiple different podcasts and doing all these interviews, mostly talk about the future of Xbox and also about its future as a third-party company, really enforcing there's no red line. There's no game they are not going to consider making multi-platform, which is kind of interesting. Also, talking about how he's excited for Nintendo Switch 2 and what Nintendo has coming, but stopping short of being like, hey, let's announce this game's coming there and that game's coming there. Because, of course, all that's probably on hold until April 2nd. Setting that aside, obviously, we've had all this excitement over all the rumors, the leaks, the new information that we put in our last video from the FCC filings about Wi-Fi 6 and stuff. That's exciting as well. And even as like those little minor updates like that, maybe during a normal reveal hype cycle isn't exciting on its own face value, right? The real excitement's the games, actually revealing them, actually going hands-on with the hardware. Today, something special is happening. And that something special is, we're going to go over, there's news in this video, but it also makes me reminisce on what's about to happen. I'm 38 years old. It's hard saying that out loud. I don't like talking about my age because I'm getting older, right? I ain't getting any younger. And the Nintendo Switch 2 launch this entire year, it already feels special. We're going to talk about that in today's video, after the news part, of course. I want to remind you, though, if you're enjoying all these conversations, these discussions about Nintendo Switch 2 and other news surrounding Nintendo, all you got to do is subscribe right here at Nintendo Prime, and let's go ahead and dive in. And why are we talking about all this stuff today? Could I dive into the Xbox stuff? I could. There's not a lot to go into. It's mostly just going to be speculating based on some rumors, and then Phil Spencer essentially saying a bunch of games are coming to Switch 2. Could sit here and obviously talk about how Nash Weedle is hinting at another Zelda remake or remaster, as if we weren't expecting one anyways, right? And how that one might be Ocarina of Time. We've given much better reasons than Nash Weedle, I think, in the past for why Ocarina of Time remake or remaster could be coming this year or next year. I feel like we've already done some pretty deep dive videos on that last year. Could revisit it today. That video probably would do really well, especially if we try to take the angle of, well, Nash Weedle's hinting at it, and Nash Weedle's got a hit or miss. But I instead want to focus on something that is happening today. This is official, and it's already happened to some of you, both good and bad. Nintendo today is announcing who is going to get to go to the Nintendo Switch 2 experience. A lot of our overseas friends have already gotten their confirmations or denial emails. Nintendo did confirm today, you could even see it on their website, that they are taking wait lists as well. So if you didn't get in, you will be given an opportunity to sign up for the wait list. And the wait list, unlike the original sign up, is a first come, first serve basis. So you want to be like on top of getting on that wait list, because the reality is a lot of people will have signed up for these events that just aren't going to be able to go. They signed up to see if they could get in, or they signed up not knowing if they could, and then maybe they got to travel and they can't afford the travel expenses or whatever, and they end up dropping out, which is going to open up slots. And it literally, first come, first serve basis, Nintendo is going to have a wait list. So even if you don't get in today, you will have an opportunity still if you're really quick to get on those wait lists. Now, setting that aside, and we'll put a link down in the description for that. Again, you'll get emails about this stuff. It's all going to be communicated through email. I want to note that at the time of recording, nobody in the U.S. has been selected. It sounds like selections should be going out around 6 p.m. Now, I don't know if that's Eastern. I don't know if that's Central. I'm kind of thinking it might be Pacific, because that's the time zone Nintendo of America works on. And we know this because it seems that all the other time zones that hit 6 p.m. is when their emails got sent out on being accepted or denied. So we all should know at some point this evening or tonight if we got in or not. So I'm still nervously waiting over here, seeing if I need to click some buttons and book some traveling and get some flights going out here in April, hotel stays, all that stuff. Again, I don't know. But it's exciting to think about that I may get to go hands-on with Nintendo Switch 2 in April. It's obviously not coming out in April. We're going to have that April Direct, and it's possible I get the first time slot in New York 2 days later. Like, I signed up for that one. If I got selected for that one, I would be among one of the first people outside of Nintendo and the companies working on games to actually go hands-on with the Nintendo Switch 2. That's exciting. And even if it's not that one and I get picked for the Dallas or the LA event, whatever, either way, April, right? This generation of Switch 2 is kind of something special to me. I'm at this point in my life where I'm basically at midlife, right? If you look at the average age of death in the U.S., it's like a little over 70. I'm not, I'm well on my way there, right? Like 38 times it by 2 is 76, right? So you can argue I'm at midlife, and in all my years, I've never gotten to celebrate systems with other people. I've talked about this before. I was kind of a loner as a Nintendo fan. I was like the only Nintendo fan in my entire middle school and high school. I didn't have any real people who played Nintendo games when I was in college, back in like 2006 to 2009. I didn't have even like now. Like I have Eric on the podcast, and even he is more into like PC, Xbox. Yeah, he plays Mario. He plays Zelda now, but his first Zelda game he really got into is Breath of the Wild. Yeah, that was like 7-8 years ago, but I've known him since we were like 3. So 30 years in there that he wasn't really playing the same sort of games I was. Again, we did enjoy some Nintendo games when we were younger, the Mario Karts and the Golden Eyes and all that stuff, but it's really that N64 era. We didn't do much together with the GameCube outside of Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. And definitely we weren't like hooking up to like go get systems at launch. We did do it for Switch because we both went to E3 2016 and went hands-on with Breath of the Wild. And that convinced both of us. We are day one-ing Nintendo Switch, even though I didn't have to. I had a Wii U. Could have played Breath of the Wild there. But I was really excited for what Switch was going to be once they revealed it. And yeah, I already knew Breath of the Wild was going to be incredible. But even with him hyping with me, he'd be the first to tell you that he's fairly casual with his Nintendo. I've beaten dozens and dozens of games on Switch. He's beaten like 3. That's not to discredit him. It's because he is more of a casual consumer. I'm not. I've been gaming with Nintendo since I first picked up a controller to play Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Since I hit a kid on the bus and took his Game Boy and tried out Link's Awakening. Really apologize to you, man. Obviously, you've heard this story many times. He got his Game Boy back. Everything's fine. We were real little kids. Bullying is not okay, by the way. I was being a bully in that moment. Why I bring this stuff up is I've been running Zelda fan websites since I was 12. So I've always had like chat rooms where I could like chit chat about Zelda stuff. And well, some people would be excited for like new consoles coming out. None of it really mattered if there wasn't a Zelda game at launch. And we had a Zelda game at launch at Wii, which was exciting. Obviously, a Zelda game at launch of Switch, which was a little bittersweet because I was let go of my editor-in-chief position at a site called Zelda Informer after a decade. Pretty much a month after the Switch came out, and I already knew that was happening. I found out 3 months prior, so a lot of excitement for that was kind of died down for me because it was like, man, this is the last Zelda game launch I'm ever going to cover in my life. And that was hard. I didn't know I was going to be a YouTuber back then. I did negotiate to get the old Zelda Informer YouTube channel and rebrand it, but I didn't know that I was going to do anything with it. I just knew my face was on the channel and I wanted some ownership over something that has my literal face on it. And so I got this channel. And I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know what kind of content I was going to make. I knew I liked covering news. I knew I liked discussing news. So I started covering, everything, not just news on Breath of the Wild and its DLC, but just all the news on like all the Nintendo games that were coming out that were exciting. And yeah, views weren't that great, but I didn't really care because I was just doing it for the love of content creation because I missed what I was doing at Zelda Informer where I was writing daily editorials. And still kind of a lone wolf. Then something changed. I started doing some live streams towards the end of 2017 and into 2018 and got to actually like live interact with an audience of like-minded Nintendo fans, and ended up being a lot of fun. And if you fast forward from then to today, I'm doing more streams than ever, live interacting with an audience, and the streams are getting more views than ever. Our Our last like 3 podcast episodes are like the 3 most watched podcast episodes ever, and they were all live stream episodes. Obviously, my normal streams have been doing really well. Our Xbox stream did really well. Everything's kind of going well. And I'm at this point now where a system is launching. It's coming out this summer at some point, June, July, whatever. Maybe May. Maybe if we're lucky, it's May. This is a life-altering event for me. We could talk about the channel and what Switch 2 can mean for the channel and our growth and where we could possibly go, because I know how hard I'm going to work. But really, it's not about that. It's about you guys. This is the first console launch in my entire life that a ton of Nintendo fans are going to be celebrating it along with me, are going to be excited along with me, are going to go through the ups and downs along with me. And you might go, well, we did that with Switch. Well, did we? Because while I started getting more into YouTube in 2018, 2019, I didn't go full-time till 2022, where this is now what I do for a living. I read about, talk about, interact with you guys about Nintendo. This is it. This is what I do. That's special. I'm fortunate to be in the position I am. And it's special that for all the years it took me to finally get here, a new Nintendo system is launching. I'm really excited for it. And so are all of you. That Switch 2 launch is a celebration for me. Not just what it means for the channel and my career or whatever. It's a celebration for me as a person connecting with Nintendo fans. Because I didn't have that growing up. I was always the lone wolf. Sure, I game on PC. I have an Xbox Series X. I had a PS5. I'll probably get a PS5 Pro later this year. I game on other stuff. But I know at the fundamental core of me, Nintendo games are the things I genuinely enjoy the most, consistently. I enjoy plenty of other IPs from other companies, but Nintendo games are like the consistent, the Marios, the Zeldas, the Animal Crossings, the Pokemon. You throw in Metroid, throw in Fire Emblem, Xenoblade. The list goes on and on. Splatoon now has a newer IP that started with a Wii U. The list just goes on. I could list off dozens of Nintendo IPs that I just enjoy them every time I play. Even the ones that aren't that great, like say a Star Fox Zero, I still had a good time playing the game. And I can't say that for other franchises. I really love the Secret of Mana franchise as an example, but I didn't like Children of Mana. I'm not even sure if I'm going to like Visions of Mana, which I haven't played yet. But I know I love Secret of Mana. But when I put in a Zelda game, even if it's a game that maybe isn't the most enjoyable for me compared to others, like say Tears of the Kingdom is peak, and let's say that for me Phantom Hourglass is the basement, I still had a good time playing Phantom Hourglass. I can't always say that for other IPs. You know? How many Assassin's Creeds have I absolutely loved? And then how many other Assassin's Creeds did I just put down and never beat? Because it just wasn't enjoyable anymore. I don't worry about that with Nintendo IP. I don't worry about that because Nintendo, I don't know what sort of magic they work or what sort of creativity they have, but they put something into those games I can't quite explain as anything other than love, a passion. Their games aren't perfect. They've got their flaws. Nintendo's not a perfect company. They have lots of flaws. They are also a for-profit company. They make a lot of anti-consumer decisions. But I am happy to say that this event coming up in April, whether it's the in-person experience or the Nintendo Direct, PAX East, I'm planning to go there as well, just to go hands-on again, maybe with even more games than were at the Switch 2 experience. And I plan to cover everything. And I plan to cover all the future games coming to Switch 2 and all the future revisions of Switch 2 that eventually come, whether it's a Lite or an OLED or an XL or whatever they do, a Pro, whatever. I, despite being in the middle of my life, feel like I'm still in the prime of my life. Now, maybe not the prime physically, right? Coming out of high school in my early 20s, probably the prime of my physical capabilities. I could jump higher, run faster, more athletic. But I still got youth in me. I wake up every day, sometimes some days feeling sloggy, some days feeling energetic. But no matter what, I'm still me. And I feel like being who I am is what helped me get the audience that we have today. An audience that is just as passionate about Nintendo as I am. Now, I'll always say gaming's not life. I got things way more important than gaming in my life. I got a wife. I got kids, right? But now this is part of my career. So it adds like some extra special juice to not only do I love playing games and super passionate about talking about games, I now get to like do that for a living. I get to combine my passions together to do this and support my family, which just makes this an even bigger and more special journey that I'm on. And you're all with me. So all this to say, long story short, thank you for being here. And thank you for, at least for me, making this system launch and the hype cycle up to it super special. Because Nintendo Switch 2 is about to go crazy. And we're all going to be together going crazy along with it. The good and the bad. Thank you guys for tuning in. I am Nathaniel RoboJets from Nintendo Prime. Fingers crossed that I get into that Nintendo Switch. God, that was really bad. Can I not cross my fingers? Fingers crossed that I get into the Nintendo Switch 2 experience. And who knows? Maybe I see some of you guys if I do. If not, maybe I'll see some of you guys at PAX East. Thank you guys for tuning in. And as always, we'll be back tomorrow with another video.